Welcome back, everyone. Going into the second hour here of Court of Swords. Max, what the fuck are you drinking?
Oh, this an elixir from my homeland. No, um, it's a mix. It's like a vodka with like a little bit of juices.
Okay, gotcha.
I like to stay loose for the shows.
Yeah, it's fucking your day drinking like a champion. Let's do it. All
Oh,
right.
my dad mixed up something for me. What am I gonna say? No.
Dad, I have to be on a D&D show. I can't
Dad, I don't want to
drink.
drink. I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Playing Dungeons and Dragons.
God damn it! My parents always trying to make me drink because they're playing D&D. Shit. So, inside the barracks, I guess, Bairn and Velimir. The inside of the barracks is, as you would expect for a town of this size, it's pretty humble. It's not a big like palatial building. There's no stone, so it's all crafted of wood. There's a sort of main room where all the soldiers like rest, and they have like beds in there. And then the knight has his own office. He doesn't live here, but there's a place where he takes you to sit and to talk. So you sit down, and he offers you something to drink. He has like a plum wine that he offers you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And asks you basically he just says to not put too fine a point on it. What are you doing in Sufontin?
Unfortunately, I wish I had better news, but we're here to both warn you and ask for help. The town what's the name of the town that was ahead?
It doesn't even have a name. It's just like a fishing village.
Okay. About 7 days march from here, there's a fishing village on the river. And we think there is Mara involvement because there are undead running amok among the town. And the water has turned purple, and everyone that's lived there is now the Walking Dead. And I fear that the water that it's up there is going to run down here before too long.
Yeah, he's scowling as you're telling this story. His his forehead kind of furrows. He's got these big bushy white eyebrows, and he's like kind of nodding grimly, and he says, "How can I help?"
We need men to help us. We know where these necromancers, because these undead are being helped by humans. And we need help to take them down. If you can spare any men to help us, we'd be willing to help you with one of your problems if you can afford to spare us some men.
He sighs and he says, "Of course, magistrates, you can command anything you wish of me. I must follow you into battle myself if you so will it. But I will ask you for mercy in this situation. Sufontin has had troubles of late. There are creatures that have been harassing us from the hills nearby, tiny, vicious things, furred lizards, filthy creatures, but hard to track down, and the goat riders cannot get far in the fields, and by the time they attack a farm and we arrive, it is too late. They've taken grain, prisoners, whatever they wish, and fled back into the hills."
Is Velimir recognizing these as the things that we've been attacked by?
It could very easily be, yeah.
What exactly do they look like?
He says, so few of us have ever seen them. We have only reports from terrified villagers. Some say they are, like kind of gestures, like a varying height.
Mm-hmm.
He says they have burning eyes in some stories, great bat wings in others, but in all scales, like a lizard or a crocodile. Creatures better served to dwell in the river, but coming from these hills, the caves, they have said before, like giant rats, perhaps as well. I can only assume these are all the same creatures. We don't have that much trouble here. I thought that this appointment would be a retirement for me, but these filthy monsters. Thankfully, they haven't been able to breach the gates. The walls are strong and tall, and these things, they only attack the outlying villages, but this is where the food comes from. You see, we have not much in Sufontaine except for rice to trade, so we've been trying to keep an eye out for them.
Yes, I understand.
These sound very familiar, Valimir, to what we fought before, does it not?
I wonder if they are the same. Oftentimes when being attacked by strange creatures, I can imagine the stories must change a little bit, along with the descriptions. It is possible these are the same. And if so, I would be more inclined to help as well. We have come into contact with them before, and let's just say it was not pretty.
Yeah, he nods. I can imagine.
I know, Commander, that I could order you right now and your men to come with us if we wanted, but I don't want to have to do that. If we could help you with this problem and possibly cut down the attacks, would you be willing to help us with the fishing village?
And Valimir dies.
Shut up, you're not even here. You're talking to an innkeep.
I just had to jump. In my mind,
Valimir
D&D's, it's a mental game. Valimir
Valimir gets a paper cut at the beginning of the conversation and now bleeds out. So, yeah,
Sorry to cut it. Go ahead.
he says, Baron, he says to you, of course, if you could rid the fields of these vermin, then I would absolutely have riders to spare.
All right. We will take a look and see what we can find out about these creatures. And if we can deal with them, we will. And I'll come back to you once we've dealt with them and see if you can help us with some men.
He nods. Thank you. Wait a moment. And he stands up and walks over to, he's got this like honeycomb shaped like scroll case on the wall. He like looks through a few of them, slides one out. And it looks like it's not like dusty or anything. You've seen your fair share of dusty old scrolls. This one is used on the regular. So he slides it out, puts it down on his desk. And you can see that it's been used multiple times. Like they probably don't have a lot of access to like vellum or paper or anything. So they'll use things as a palimpsest. So this has been like treated with like a white paint and then drawn on again and then painted over and then drawn again. So there's like a thick layer of paint on top of the actual paper. He rolls it out. And you can see kind of a general map of the area. You can see the road coming through. You see a little marker for Sufontaine, some of the little villages or little huts nearby. And then there's some mountains that run kind of north to west, sort of as a curve off onto the side. And you can see he's marked on the map a couple of places. And he says that the huts attacked the farms that were stolen from all appear to be along the edge of these mountains. I'm almost certain that their lair is up there somewhere. But it's a day's ride from here, and the men, if I send them, what if I'm wrong and they attack the town? We can rely on these walls, but what if these creatures learn to climb? And if, as the villagers say, some of them have wings, I have nightmares of women coming to me crying because their babies have been snatched from their arms by winged devils. I cannot have that on my karma.
I can imagine the pressure you must feel. Responsibility you have to keep these people safe. I understand and sympathize.
We can see why you're commander. You're definitely a very wise man. It's always a fool gives up his defensive position. So I'm willing to take me and my companions to the mountains here. This is a great place to start. And we'll see if we can find these creatures and put an end to these attacks.
Yeah, he nods. He says, if you could do that, then all the Arcana bless you.
One more thing. We were led here and told to come to speak to you by one of your men, a patrol for the morning, led by Sorrowful Plum, I believe he said his name was.
Yeah, he smiles in recognition and nods.
We informed him we lost two of our travelers with us. Unfortunately, two orphan children now from the lost fishing village we mentioned. If you would be so kind to keep out for them. The one is a small girl. She is wily, she is wise, and she is stubborn. Perhaps you may find her in your village stealing. I ask that you treat her mercifully and try to guide her. Perhaps train her like you train these young fellows. And just, motion to.
Yeah. He stands up and he says, "Missing children. Let me show you something." And he walks outside and goes to the side of the barracks, not the one you approached from, but from another side, and walks you over to there's what looks like sort of a message board, and all over it are pinned bits of mostly cloth with like writing on them with people's names. And he says, "You are not alone." And you can see like at least a dozen other names on there. It says these are all people who have gone missing in the last month. As you can see, these creatures, well, perhaps they took your children as well.
Perhaps. Maybe our problems are related. Either way, if you see them, let us know. And perhaps if you find them and they're up to mischief, exercise kindness on them. But I will speak for Sorrowful Plum. He's a good man, and perhaps worthy of some recognition.
Yeah, he says, "Thank you for telling me this. I will remember what you said. A good word from a magistrate can be very helpful for a man's career."
And just to warn you, do not underestimate these children. The creatures may not be able to climb the walls, but I have a feeling that they will if they need to. So be on the lookout.
Yeah, he nods. He says, "I will
Do
tell.
not underestimate them."
I will tell all of my
You
men."
have no idea.
The horror. Yeah.
She has leaves.
Okay. Yeah. So so he tells you that he'll watch out. He'll let everybody know. And I guess if you're done at the barracks, let's get back to Zafira. So Zafira, after you organize rooms for the team, where do you go? What do you do?
I go to my room and write the letter to HQ, and I guess I would write it to my grandfather.
Okay. Sure.
And I would think that the Court of Swords has some sort of ink that maybe like if an air genasi breathes on it or something, then it becomes like readable, or so the ink becomes actual ink. Otherwise, it just looks like a clean sheet of paper. I don't know. Some sort of thing that's not going to be like, we're going to send a secret message. It's like, no, this just works because that's how the government works.
Yeah, I mean the simplest way to do it would be that your like signet, you'd use wax and you'd seal the letter and use the signet of your magistracy to like lock it essentially. That'd be the most cost effective and require the least magic.
Okay. Well, as long as no one else reads it, that's what I'm.
Yeah, that's what the seal's for sure.
Okay. So I just put like, dearest grandfather, we're on a mission with we'll say Hillstern and Cetrovic. We went to a fishing village, and it seems that it's been overrun by Mara. I fear for everyone else who's on this river's lifeline. I seek your aid and counselship for what the next step will be. We're currently residing in a small village. Don't know how long we'll be here, but we should be moving closer and closer to home as time comes by.
Okay.
If you can send a rider or anyone for direct information, we will make sure to stay on the road.
Sure. Okay.
Then sign it, seal it, and then go to the wheel of, what was it? Wheel of time.
Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. I was like, it's a really weird name or really silly name, so I went with Wheel of Time, but it was Fortune.
Yeah, the wheel of fortune represents, it's the arcana that represents like movement and luck, destiny, things like that. And they kind of control the local postal service. So you can go to the temple in town. They have a shrine to the wheel, and they'll be able to deliver that for you. But I think you run into Baron and Velimir, because where do you guys go next? Because you were told to go to the inn after you finished at the temple, right?
Yeah, so that's where we were heading.
Okay, all right, yeah. So you run into each other outside as Zafira comes out of the inn.
Okay. What did you find out?
Yes. So apparently the town has been under attack incessantly by these small creatures. Probably the same things that attacked us on the road. And the commander is willing to give us troops if we can investigate and hopefully stop these attacks. He says they're originating from the mountains to the north. So that'd be a good place to start.
Do we know how many we're going up against?
he showed me a wall, and there's a lot of missing people. So I don't know how many there are, but they are small creatures, and there's rumors that some can fly, from what he described.
Perhaps our problems and missing Tui and her brother are related to them. Apparently, they've been making a habit of kidnapping small children. We may find Tui and them if we try to deal with this and go to the cave.
Adam, can we make can I make a nature roll just to know or to see if I know how, like, do these things breed like rabbits is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, you can make a nature roll based on the information that you have to try to figure out some stuff about these creatures.
All right, let's get this one over with. It's a 7.
Hey, man, that's a high roll for us.
Nice.
That's
Slow
not.
art.
It ties once again the highest of the day.
Yeah. All you know is that these creatures almost killed Velimir.
Yeah.
And that's but remember in that fight when they knocked Velimir out, the first thing they did was try to drag him away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
I say, the three of us have already fought these creatures in a very small amount. I would assume there's not just going to be another 5 or 6. There will be tens, if not hundreds of these in their stronghold somewhere in the mountains. I don't know if this is a mission that we could do simply by ourselves.
I could see if the commander would be willing to spare a man or two to help us.
I feel just a simple body to have there would turn the tide in our favor. Even if that man is coming with us to die, that is just the way of things.
All right. After we're done sending the message, we'll go back and talk with the commander.
We should also ask him if there are any idea of numbers, if they have sent scouts, any of that information. But first, I need to go mail this letter. So I start walking towards the Wheel of Time. Not time, Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
The wheel of time.
Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna head to the temple. Is anybody gonna go with Zafira, or is Zafira you heading off on your own?
That's
How
all.
did you say that to us? Are you saying you want to go by yourself? Or?
It's really, I just start walking. It's up to you guys if you want to follow or if you want to go talk to the captain or what.
All right, I'll go back and chat with the captain.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of caught me mid-stride, so I was already on the way to the Church of the
Right.
Wheel
It
of
was like
Fortune.
whoop, and you turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll head with Baron as well.
All right, yeah, so I just go and head to the church, and they split off to the commander, the knight commander.
So the temple is it's an ancient building, and contains shrines, individual shrines. So it's not a temple to one of the arcana, but is a shared space that many of the arcana can be worshipped in. So it's a big circular kind of room. In the center, there's a stone statue of an older looking human man and woman. The woman is pregnant. The man has a beard and kind of a stern look on his face, and he has his hand on the woman's shoulder. Both of them have sort of a regal look to them. There's something about the art style that makes them look like they're depicted as like kings or like kings and queens, like high nobility. There's the two of them. Standing like under them, there's a carving, like a stone carving of a wheel, a several spoked wheel, and it's sitting above a little fire pit, and so there's like fire and flames licking at the bottom of the wheel. There's also around the outside edge, there's some carvings of the various arcana, not proper shrines, but places that people might go to offer a prayer to some of the other arcana. And then as well, kind of in the ceiling, the carving in the ceiling represents the world. So it's carved to look kind of like a map of the known world. So you can see the Court of Swords and the Court of Wands. You can see, off to one side the Court of Cups, and we get a nice like slow pan of this temple that sort of shows off all of these different things. And there's lots of people in here. I wouldn't say like hundreds, but there's like at least a few dozen people praying or talking with the priests that live and work here. And you can see no obvious sign of a priest of the Wheel of Fortune. The closest people to the shrine, the little Wheel of Fortune's altar are two really grubby-looking people. Like they look like beggars. Wearing it's a man and a woman. They're wearing just like ratty clothes and sitting cross-legged in front of the wheel, and they're playing a game of some kind. Like one of them throws some dice on the ground, the other one looks angry. The man who rolled the dice laughs, grabs some coins, and then it's her turn, and they're just like playing this game back and forth, sitting in front of the wheel.
Okay. I guess I go approach one of them and just walk up and say, "Yes, hello, I'm a magistrate looking to send a message to headquarters. Can you please direct me to who I need to speak with?"
So the man looks up like anxiously at you. He's got a super long, scraggly beard, and his hair is really, really long. He's made some effort to like braid it, but it's kind of just turned into like weird dreadlocks. Her hair is also super long. And he looks up at you and he's like, shh, I'm playing a game. Hold on. And he picks up the dice and rolls them, and he's like, curses. And the woman gathers up some coins and laughs. And there's only a few coins left in front of him. And once he loses, he looks up at you and scowls, and he's like, I was on a winning streak. You interrupted my luck, magistrate. And he reaches like, help me up. Puts his arm out.
I'm sorry. I kind of like look down at his hand and look
Yeah,
back
he's
at
like,
him.
help me up.
I put out my hand.
Okay, yeah. So he grabs your hand and yanks himself to his feet. I think brushes them off. He leaves kind of like a greasy stain in your palm from where he touched you. He smells terrible. And he stretches and like cracks his back, and he's like, so you said something about a letter.
Yes, I need to make sure this letter gets sent as soon as possible.
And he kind of like squints at you and says, let's see.
Yeah, I give him the letter with the stamp on it.
Yeah, he takes it, looks at it in his hand, tucks it into his filthy tunic, and then puts his hand out again. Like,
I'm sorry, what is it you require now?
he says, the fee, of course. Traveling these roads isn't free, and I wagered my shoes last night, you see, so I'll have to buy some more. I can't very well carry this to the capital with bare feet, now can I?
I have never been charged for sending a message. Are you going to be the first?
He kind of like looks you up and down, and he says, a wager then. And he pats himself down. He's like, a coin. Do you have a coin? You must. You're a magistrate. Look at you.
Not for you to take, no.
Nah, just show it to me.
I pull out a coin and just hold it like in front of him.
Yeah, he turns his head to look at one side and the other. He says, good, fine, standard imperial weight. A wager then. We flip the coin. Heads, the emperor smiles on you, and I take your message for free. I'll find my own shoes. Tails, the emperor smiles on me, and you give me that scimitar. And then I take your letter.
I kind of look at him and look back at my scimitar. Say, you will never have your hands on the scimitar. I'm sorry about that.
And he looks you up and down again, and he's like, fine, then your blouse or something. You must have something you're willing to barter with me.
I kind of like look around the building. Is there any other? There's someone that was playing with him, correct?
Yeah. There's this woman who's like, just like watching, like, this is interesting.
How about I simply just pay you for the coin, or play you for the coin?
He says, well, that's no fun, is it? I mean, I suppose you could just pay me if you wanted to.
How about we play for her?
And he looks at her. What do you mean? I don't own her. I can't give her to you. I can't bet what's not mine.
This is not your friend? Your wife?
He laughs, just like, her? No, I hate her. I can't stand her. She's bad luck to my good. She's a fly in my soup. I'm stuck with her because of fate, but no, I cannot even give away this curse. And she's just like laughing at him.
Is this a human? It's not. Right?
Yeah, they're both humans.
It's a human. Say, do you have a family, sir?
He says, I did once, but not any longer.
So no belongings to you that are alive.
Shakes his head. No, I had a dog once. He died.
Never dealt with someone I couldn't have killed. This is interesting. How much is
Yeah.
it to send this?
He says a piece of gold. Just the one.
That is quite high. Is
He shrugs.
there any assurance that it will get there?
He just kind of like looks up, like assurance of the gods. If the wheel turns in your favor, it will arrive as you hope. If the wheel has another destination for your letter, that is where it will go.
I cannot trust something so faulty with this information. Have a
And
good
he-
day, sir.
he-
And I
he
just
looks-
turn and walk.
Yeah, he looks personally offended and says to you as you walk away, he's like, there's nothing more reliable than fate, my friend. Wherever you go, there it is.
Hopefully you will find your soon friend. And I just continue walking.
Yeah. And as he like sighs and sits down, so he sits, and the woman looks at him like, pay up, and he's like, he like pulls out a little bag of coins and puts it in her hand, and then looks down at the dice, and he's like, it's my turn anyway, and like grabs the dice as you walk out.
Yeah. I start heading towards where Baron and Velimir just went.
Yeah, I assume you took the letter from the guy before you left.
Yes. Yeah, I did not leave it there.
Okay, I figured that went without saying. Okay, yeah. So you head back outside, and Vilmir and Baron, where were you during all this?
We were going back to the commander to ask him for horses and a man to help guide us.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I don't even think we have to have that conversation. He's happy to do that for you. What did you ask for specifically?
Goats for each one of us to ride, and one man to help guide us and help us fight.
Sure. Yeah. And I think you arrived back just when Sorrowful Plum was returning. So he's given the glorious honor of serving you. So yeah, Captain Sorrowful Plum will go with you, and they'll provide riding goats for the three of you to head out looking for the situation. So I think this is where Zafira, you come in and you find Velimir and Baron outside the barracks. They've got these shiny new goats, and Sorrowful Plum is just getting them accoutered.
I take it that the meeting went well?
Yes, the commander gave us the goats to ride, and also a man to help us, and someone we're familiar with.
Fantastic. Is the commander still in? I wish to have a quick word with him.
Yes, he's just up the way.
Okay. I just start walking. Like, I say this in passing and just walk in straight up the way to where the commander is.
And I'm getting Velimir gives Zafira like a look too, just like, this fucking girl. Who does she think she is? Like,
Yeah, just let her do her thing.
So Zafira, you find Commander Visal, and he's in the practice yard, but he's alone now. He's stripped down to just his pants. He's got these like ballooning kind of like harem pants he's wearing, and he has his shirt off, and you can see he's got all these tattoos. They're very sun faded now. His skin is quite dark and leathery, and his tattoos are all this kind of like bluish mess. And he's fighting nothing. He's just practicing in the air. He's got a scimitar, and he's just doing some practice. He's also quite short and like maybe stouter than you expected him to be.
Okay. Yeah, if he has his back turned to me or he's practicing, I just open the conversation with, your blade seems a bit unbalanced, Captain.
He finishes the maneuver and turns and like sets it down, like just point down, and looks over at you, and he picks up a towel, like wipes his forehead, and he says, yes, I prefer it a bit heavier. Carries the swing. I've never been a graceful man. I could have made it as a butcher, I think. And he walks over and gives you a bow and says, you must be the magistrate.
Yes.
I met with your friends.
Yes, I'm glad those meetings went as they did.
He nods. He says, I find it important to be polite to magistrates, especially since you could just take what you wanted. It's nice when people in power say, please.
Well,
Your friends are very polite. And he's like kind of sponging himself off because he's all sweaty in the heat.
I wish this sentiment was shared without your village. You have a clerk over at the Wheel of Fortune who will not send this message for free. and it needs to get to my grandfather as soon as possible.
He chuckles and he's walking over to, there's a barrel with like a ladle next to it. And he like scoops up a ladle of water and drinks from it while he's talking to you. And he says, yes, the Wheel of Fortune. They, unpredictable folks. I mean, I make the prayers and pay the tithes because who doesn't want luck on your side? But they're, that God attracts unusual people, I think. Not for me.
Do you have a rider that perhaps carry messages?
He shakes his head. No, we stick to ourselves. The town is small. Our territory, not far.
Well, perhaps I'll just have to rely on the court or on the circle of. Anyways, I grow tired of this place. The hills, the mountains that we are going to, are they rough terrain?
Well, they're fine going by goat. On foot, slower. The weather there is hot. No one lives in these hills. There was a tribe of hill folk that dwelt there some generations ago, but I've never seen them. If they live there, they live under the mountain now, not within it. Don't trade with us. We stay far away. No farming there. No mining to speak of. Every once in a while, someone hears a rumor that there is gold in the hills and will go and attempt to dig, but they find nothing. Come back, return to their farms. You know how peasants are.
Myself and the other 2 magistrates have slain 5 or 6 of these creatures on the road. Do you know how many exist in these mountains? Have you sent scouts?
We have. We stick to the farmland, and as I told your friends, we've never seen one in person. You could ask the villagers. Several of the outlying farms have been troubled by these creatures, but none of my men have ever seen one in person.
They've only dragged things away, never been caught?
No, tricky things as I understand it.
Have you laid traps?
Yes, we have, but you have to understand that our traps they're not for creatures like this. They're for foolish animals. They're for keeping missing goats in place. They're not meant to ensnare monsters. I just don't think that we're equipped for these things.
I kind of say, thinking to myself, as perhaps Velimir could teach the guards his way of trapping. It seems to have caught one for us in the past. Might serve you well.
He nods. The fire genasi you travel with.
Yes.
Interesting. I never met one before.
They are quite rare.
What is he like, if you don't mind my asking? And he's tying his like sash back up, like he's getting redressed now that he's like, poured some water on himself and like cleaned up a little bit.
Velimir means well. He simply has different ways of getting to whatever he wants than I would take or than others would take. But he's never failed me, so I keep him around.
May I ask you a question, my lady, about your companion?
Sure.
I've heard rumors that they do not eat as normal men, that they consume embers from fire. Is this true? Have you seen your companion do such a thing?
Yes, but it is not widely known, and they tend to keep that secret. So if you can please keep to yourself about that. A trade secret, if you will.
He nods. How very unusual. What wonders the gods have given us. Fascinating.
Do these creatures, to get back on topic, do you know when these people have been dragged away? When they have gone missing, I assume mostly at night?
Yes, never an attack during the day, which is why I think the stories of these beasts have been so unusual and so dissimilar. I have not seen one in the day or heard any report of them moving under the sun, so he shrugs.
Understood. All right, I believe we will set out tomorrow. Hopefully we'll return in a couple of days with good news.
I'm sending one of my best men with you. Take care of him.
We will. Thank you again, Commander. We shall see you soon.
Yeah, he bows. Okay.
Then I walk out to the group as they're getting on their horses, or rather their goats.
They're goats. Okay. So if all 3 of you don't already have inspiration, feel free to charge it up. So they're just outside the barracks. I think, doing their last minute check. How long did you tell Sorrowful Plum that your plan was to be away from town so that he can appropriately accoutre himself?
Dan did, or
Probably a few days.
4 or 5 days. Yeah, no more than a week.
Less than a week.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he's got saddlebags for his goat and has put some rations in them.
Okay. When we get outside, I turn over to Velimir and say, the commander believes you eat embers, so perhaps use that against him if you wish. It's up to you.
Embers, eh?
He does not believe
For a very long time.
He does not believe that you eat as him and I do.
So this is a thing, Velimir. There's all kinds of weird stories in the Court of Swords about like how Genasi are, and they tend to revolve around eating, the evacuation of waste, and sex. And there's all of these like weird stories that people use to make you seem like an alien outsider to them. This is just one of them. It's one of the like tamer ones.
Yeah. Interesting. Perhaps I'll consume some fire in front of him. Maybe have relations with the campfire as well.
He is a good man. I do not wish you toil with him too much.
I jest.
Okay.
There's things to do. Let's get to them.
I was not able to send the message, by the way. They were asking for a fee that I did not wish to pay.
You didn't command him to just send the message?
I did not command him enough, perhaps.
Should we go back? Take care of it the proper way.
I kind of just like put my head up and say, I hate needless killing. This is all in front of Sorrowful Plum as well.
Yeah, he's trying really hard to be polite and not listen.
This is an important message, is it not?
It is of the utmost importance.
Then why did you fail?
It's not failure. It is simply it's not done on time.
He sounds like failure. Let's go.
Zephyr, I will give you one of our gold pieces that we've earned if you want to pay for it.
The man does not need a gold piece to send a fucking message. I could send a message for free.
Gods don't approve of that language.
Let us go.
Okay, yeah. I start
As you're riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, I start following Velimir.
Okay, all right. So where do you begin? Where do you head to start?
Back to the...
Yeah, we're going to the Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, yeah. So you're gonna head off to the temple.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the temple is as it was before, but as you approach, this time outside the temple proper, there's a man. You see him. He's wearing a long black robe, and he has a mask, a wooden mask with long curling ram horns coming up from it, and he's wearing a harness of like rusted chains. And he's standing on an upturned wooden box and like ringing an iron bell, and basically shouting admonishments at people as they walk by, like pointing at them and declaring their sin. Right? It's like laziness, greed, and like pointing at these people, and, like ringing the bell.
This
and
is
shouting.
the same guy that took the.
No, this is just
okay.
a guy outside. Yeah, just
What's
a
the
guy
name?
standing outside the temple. Just, you can't see his face. He's got this like wooden goat mask. And
Presumably just a normal guy
I
wearing
guess
a mask.
I guess technically it's a ram's mask, but
Seeming
yeah.
like some sort of, extremist person of some faith.
Yeah, maybe, and just like shouting at people as you approach.
Okay.
And as the three of you approach, he points, and it's hard to tell who he's pointing at, but he points at you and shouts "Pride" and like rings the bell. As the three of you walk up towards the
When he does that, I'm just like, the hell is this?
and so if you stop, because most people are just ignoring him and walking past.
He's piqued Velimir's interest.
Sure. Yeah. So he rings, he points at you, and he says, "You carry the weight of sin on your shoulders, foreigner."
Who are you?
And he looks around and he says, "I am all of us, magistrate."
Is he on a horse?
No, he's standing on a box.
No. Get down from your box.
And he steps down, and he starts to approach you.
Take your mask off.
And he looks at you, and he does like a big
Take it off.
big theatrical bow, and he says, "As you wish, magistrate." And he like pulls the mask off, and he's got long black hair that he's got sort of piled up and pinned on top of his head, and he has like a thin mustache. He's probably in his like early 20s, and he says, "Now you see my face, magistrate. Does it give you a different impression of me?"
I just wanted you to take the ridiculous thing you had on your face off. What is your story? Why are you harassing these people?
What god do you worship?
My friends.
Yeah, he laughs and looks at the mask, and he says, "I harass no one. I am merely here to tell truths that folks are unable to see in their own hearts. I am not judging. I see you for your pride, magistrate, and proud you should be. You have power, strength. You are from far away. You are mysterious and exotic. Certainly this must elevate you in the eyes of these peasants.
I call
Embrace
no
your
one
pride,
peasant.
magistrates."
I am not the one pointing and judging and calling people at their faults. What do you have?
No, magistrate, not faults. Sin is not a fault. This is what I hope to enlighten people of. And he turns to you, Baron, and he says, "Priest of temperance, I welcome you." And he like nods, and he says, "As with all the arcana, you have your place, as do I."
Who do you worship, my friend?
He says, I hear the whispers of the devil when I sleep."
I kind of turn to Plum and say, is this a regular in this village? Maybe just like amongst the two of us behind the conversation happening in front of us.
Yeah, Plum like rolls his eyes, and he says, "If not him, then someone. Occasionally we will have a monk come through. He's a member of an unpopular religion, but the devil is a part of the arcana like everyone else. We mostly try to ignore them."
Yes. And then we go back to the main conversation.
Yeah. So they kind of have this like whispered thing, and he says to you, Zafira, and he's looking at your sword, and he says, "When was the last time that you killed, magistrate?
This morning?
And how did it feel? Exhilarating, no?"
Boring as it always does.
A shame. A shame. The taking of a life should be a cause for celebration. Should be
How
exciting.
many have you killed in your life?
He shakes his head. "Sadly, none. I've been
Then you
cursed
do
with
not know what it feels like to kill." And then I walk past him.
Yeah. And as you go, he says, "Yes, of course, my lord. I am a mere servant. Arcana be with you." And you like walk away. Zafira and Baron, do you follow?
Yeah, I catch up to Velimir and say, simply by stopping and acknowledging that man's existence makes him seem worthwhile.
I just wanted to stop him harassing everyone in the area.
He will not stop.
Away.
Temperance would tell us that even the devil has lessons to tell us.
I do not follow temperance. You know this.
We all may have our mistakes.
So we see as you guys walk away, we see the guy like pull up his robes, because like when he's standing on the ground they're too long, so he pulls them up kind of around his waist, steps up on the box, lets them go so it looks like he's all tall again, fixes his mask, and starts shouting at people again, basically right away as you come inside. So you enter the temple, and you see its shrines. There's no sign of the two, or the man at least, the two that were there by the wheel. Instead, the woman who's now standing, she's sitting on the floor. She's talking to two villagers, and then there's other sort of like lay people around, setting offerings at the feet of the emperor and empress, that kind of stuff.
Velimir, you wish to speak to this goon? By all means. I do not wish to waste my time.
Velimir just looks. He sees the two of them there.
Yeah, there's a really ratty looking woman, like with like long, like caveman dreadlocks, basically, and like a shift that's all like holy and dirty, standing there in her bare feet, talking to a couple, a man and woman.
That's all who's there right now?
There's a bunch of other peasants around, but you don't see any priests or anything.
Yeah, pardon me. Who might I speak to about sending a message? We are magistrates that have a very important message to send.
Yeah, the woman looks at you and nods her head, and she says, a moment, please, magistrate. I'm tending," and gestures to the two.
When you are ready.
Yeah, so she turns to them and finishes basically what she was saying, and she says, the will of the Arcana is not ours to see, but if you complete this offering, then I will give it to the wheel, and hopefully it will turn in your favor. I promise nothing. Fate is fickle.
I turned. When they say that, I turned to Bear and said, "Whose idea was it to make a mail service that is based on luck? This is a shitty service."
And and they give her some coins, like just some silver, and she says, if nothing else, perhaps you will sleep better tonight. And she puts her hand on their shoulder and on the man's shoulder, and he nods, and they leave. And she tucks the coins in her like tunic and turns to you, Velimir, and she says, magistrates, and looks at all three of you. You seem to be reproducing. Last I looked, there was only one. How can I serve you, my lord?
This was not
I
the
just
person I
gesture-
spoke to, Velimir.
Gesture towards Zephyr and just like a message.
I spoke with a thing earlier this afternoon who was going to charge me quite the fee to send a simple message to the Court of Swords. Will you be charging me the same fee?
She nods. Yes, it is custom. A piece of gold to turn the wheel.
Baron, is this true?
Yes, the wheel of fortune, they believe in luck, and that is a very big part of their god.
Again, I ask, a mail service based on luck. What is the percentage that this will get to actually where I'm intending it to be?
She looks you dead in the eye and she's like, about 50-50.
Velimir, you see the issue?
So she chuckles and she says, you have to understand, Lady Magistrate, that everything is luck. We can do our best to guide the message on its way, give it to reliable messengers, carry it on the back of a strong goat. But if there is a storm and the messenger is killed, if the goat falls ill, if they're attacked by monsters, everything is luck.
Then what is the point of...
She has a point. Even if we give it to the best writer, there's no guarantee that they will make it.
I do not need a wheel to tell me the odds and how life and things work in this world.
The wheel is more of a symbol about how things function in life.
And a way to get money from people.
In more structured towns, they simply get the letter from point A to point B, and it is done. There is no fucking wheel in some established cities, Baron.
Yeah, so when you get your voice starts to raise, it echoes off the walls, and like people are starting to look over, and she says, if you want to hedge your bet, then who better to come to than the clergy of luck itself? You could give your letter to a passing brigand or a child and tell them to go. You're making informed decisions, but doing so with the eye of the Wheel of Fortune on your letter is going to help, I think. Certainly it can't hurt.
Is there anyone else in this town that is a courier of sorts?
I asked this very question. They say no. You say no?
A town of this small is unlikely to have another courier.
Velimir, pay the man.
How about I let them leave
like put my
and they
harps
spin
up.
the wheel?
She looks at you and she says, there's no need to threaten me. If today is my day to die, then so be it. I'm not afraid of anything the wheel has to show me. And she like looks pointedly at your sword, like, if you're gonna kill me, like, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it because that's just how it's gonna be.
Again, this was the issue. I threatened the man's life. He did not care.
Velimir, in a quick, swift motion, grabs his dagger, puts it up to her throat, and presses right against her throat, staring her dead in the eyes with his fire. With his eyes.
Velimir, she won't care. Simply look at her eyes. They are dead.
I mean, that close to her, like she's trembling, and
No, I'm testing her.
yeah, you can see like
Velimir.
sweat beading on her forehead.
Velimir, that is not going to help.
And so you notice, yeah, like everybody's all looking at you now. And there's a cleric. He's wearing like, you know, long gray robes. One of the temple's like guardians kind of like looks up, like, what's going on over here? And looks like he's gonna approach.
I just say to her, You will do your best to get this message where it needs to go. I do not care about your will. This is something that needs to happen. You live in this town, yes? We are preventing it from calamity. You want this message to get there. Yes?
So she's like doesn't know whether she's allowed to speak or not. She just kind of like nods to you.
Good. She sits back and then goes back.
Okay. So do you are you gonna pay her or are you just gonna give her
I'm
the
not
letter?
paying her.
Okay, so Zafira, you give her the letter?
I put the letter on the table and slide it over.
She's shaken. Yeah, she takes the letter.
I decide to pay her.
Okay.
I will give her 2 gold instead of the usual 1 as an apology.
I say, Baron, if you are soft on these people, then they will
Don't
live
worry,
softly.
this is of my own money, not ours.
Yeah, so she takes the coin from you, holds it in her hand, and looks at the second coin. Like she pockets the one coin, looks at the other one, and she says, "Would you like me to spin the wheel for you?"
Very well.
Okay, she flips the coin. Let me roll a d2 here. So 1 is heads, 2 is tails. 2 is tails. Okay, all right. So
We didn't call. What is that good? We didn't call what we thought it was going to be.
yeah, it doesn't matter. So she flips it and it lands with the emperor, the scowling face of the emperor on one side, and she looks at it and she shakes her head and she's like, "Tough luck. Thank you for the offering, though," and tucks it into her pocket. You feel a sense of like unusual nerves kind of like come over you for a second.
Who does?
Baron just feels like a strange sense of like nervousness for a second.
I'm already like halfway out the temple, and I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
shout like, "Baron, this is what you get for playing their games."
Do I know what that means when there's a nope?
No, you just have a feeling. Maybe I don't know. How do you respond to that feeling? That's more important. Are you like superstition, or are you like, oh shit? Like how does Baron respond?
Just sitting there like, okay, I don't feel well, but I hope temperance helps me through this. I'll be on my guard.
Okay. Yeah. So she takes the coins, tucks them away, and the priest, once he sees that the violence is not going to happen, has kind of returned to. He's like calming people down and returning them to their prayers.
Was Plum with us that entire time?
No, I think he was outside with the goats.
Okay. Good. What time of day is it, by the way?
It's like late afternoon by now.
I had prep. So I have prepared an inn for us. We will leave first thing in the morning. Plum, I assume you have a place to live that you can go back and reside in. I did not get a room for you. I apologize.
He laughs and he says, "No, of course. I have a home. My wife is going to need to know that I'm going to be away for a few days. You think?" And he turns to Baron. 5 or 6, you said. She'd be very cross if I tell her 2 and come back in 3.
Yeah, better be safe than sorry. Tell her at least 4 or 5 days. And can you also make sure that our goats are stocked with supplies for the trip as well?
Of course, my lord. As you wish.
Thank you. We'll see you in the morning.
I will await you by the city gates.
All right, we set off at dawn.
Of course.
Thank you, Plum. Have a nice night.
Okay, yeah. So he heads off to go home and to see his wife one more time.
As he's turning away or walking away, I turn to the other two and perhaps we should go have our fortunes read, as customary.
Sure.
Okay. Very well.
So then I think we head off to the fortune teller's hut or whatever. It's not a hut, right?
And you're just like muttering to himself. Courteous
Yeah.
service.
Goddamn mail.
Yeah. Let's take a break there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and have our fortunes read by another crazy person in this shitty town. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with hour 3 of Court of Swords. We'll see you then.